Are you in the Shah Rukh Khan era of love, or are you in the Kartik Aaryan era of love?
You know, I have already been spoiled. My expectations of love are Shah Rukh Khan.
Wow.
So I'm in the
SRK era of love.
yeah, seeking Shah Rukh Khan everywhere. Good evening, everyone. द्रौपदी तेरे अकेले के लिए नहीं है. तू एक अकेला शेयर होल्डर नहीं है. Thank
हम
you.
सब
शेयर होल्डर हैं. Okay, I murdered the dialogue. Well, since I'm really close to my brother, I'd like to say that भाई ने बोला करने का तो करने का. Thank you.
Wow.
Hi, this is Manushi Chhillar and you're watching me on Mirchi Plus.
Hi, this is Samina Shaikh here on Mirchi Plus, and with me today I have someone who needs no introduction because the entire world knows her. Welcoming Manushi Chhillar on Mirchi Plus.
Thank you.
So you are the Miss World, you know, basically, and you are someone who brought a title back to India after so many years. How
Yeah.
does that make you feel?
I think it makes me feel happy. It's obviously been 5 years since my Miss World competition, and the very fact that it was celebrated the way it was celebrated, and the very fact that people remembered that it was after 17 years made it even more special.
And I had this precise memory because I remember I was in Four Seasons, and you know I was having some dinner that time, and I was like, I don't know, हो तो रहा है Miss World, and ठीक है अभी पता नहीं जीतेंगे कि नहीं, and suddenly I get a call. Listen, there are high chances she might win. Be on toes and all, and I was like, what? She won.
Who called you?
Yeah, from work I got a call, and I was
Yeah?
like, there are chances she may win, and then they announced. And I think it was 17th or 18th November.
18th of November.
18th of November,
yeah.
and I got a call, and I was like, no, and I was so surprised. So I precisely remember where exactly I was, and you know, I felt very good, and I was like, wow. Then I saw your pictures, and I was like, wow, she has a very cute dimple, and I know what is the reason behind she winning. So that was my, entire experience of you winning the title, and you know, and I'm sure a lot of people out there were very surprised. Were you also kind of taken aback, you know, when you were in that moment?
You know, see, for me everything happened so fast. I never got the chance to really realize what was happening. I just remember, like, I was in college, went to a college fest, they asked me to audition for Miss India, auditioned. I had, I think, 1 week to prepare for the zonals. So that was the first time I took like an off from my college. I started preparing, then I think within a month we had to do the finals. So I got selected as Miss India Haryana at the zonals, went to the finals, and I won Miss India. And what happened was, the Miss India competition had gotten postponed in my year, and the Miss World got preponed. So I had a very short window to actually prepare. So everything happened so fast for me that the realization only happened much later into the year, because immediately after winning I had to start with my Miss World duties. It was only when I remember I came back home after a certain trip, and I had a bit of a break, and I was in my room, and I think I was doing my hair or my makeup or something, and suddenly my mom was in, and I said, do you realize that, you know, we used to watch the Miss World show, and do you realize it's actually happened? And she's like, yeah, I do realize. Have you realized? I said, I'm realizing it today. But it all happened very soon for me. Of course, it's a very big surprise. It's such a pleasant surprise. It's also happy and also exciting. And at the same time, somewhere it's, you don't know what the result is going to be, but because I had such a good time over there as a contestant, I had so much fun with the other girls, and because somewhere you've done so many rehearsals that the final night also feels like a rehearsal to you. So the realization that you're competing doesn't really come.
But also, Manushi, you know, when I read a lot about you after you won the title, and you know, I was like, she's into MBBS. I'm so sorry. I felt like, you know, yeah, like, you know, basically, you know, getting into completely, like, you know, being a doctor, wanting to be a doctor, suddenly moving that, you know, shifting from that career to Miss World. How did that happen, you know?
See, Miss World's not a career. I always thought that this is a competition, and if I win, great. I'll get to travel the world for a year. I'll get to learn so much. I'll get a certain platform that when I come back home and do whatever I'm planning to do, then that experience is only going to add value. That was the plan. Obviously, things didn't go as planned. In India, it's very different. You know, you suddenly become popular. You're like the celebrity. So your life is not the same. You can't go back to college and just be this anonymous student again. And that's a realization I had a few months after winning. Even though when I won and I came back, I think I was very clear in my head, and I said that, and I've always been this person, I've always known what I want in life. At least I like to think so. So I always knew that I'm going to finish my medicine because I worked really hard for that seat. And it's such a competitive world that you do know the value of the opportunity you've gotten. And my parents were doctors, so for me that was a very familiar ground. But into the year, I remember my parents and the Miss World team, they talked to me about it, and I remember the Miss World team would tell me that, we're really happy that you want to still be a doctor, but they said that you have potential, and you don't know the kind of opportunities that are going to come your way, so don't close all doors, like explore, see what it is, because not a lot of people will get these opportunities. So I think that reassurance was great. Even my parents, I think my mom would always tell me whenever there'd be an interview, and she'd see that people would always ask me Bollywood or medicine, and I used to always choose medicine.
Yeah.
So my mom would always call after the interview and tell me, "Nay, choose Bollywood, choose Bollywood." She's like, "Why don't you want to do it? It's why don't you try it? Your education can always wait. These opportunities will not come back to you." So I think I decided to give it. Obviously, I decided to give it a try. I got my first opportunity, and as I started preparing and as I started shooting, I really started to enjoy it. So that really changed for me. Miss World was a competition, like I said, so that was never a career choice. It's a 1 year of an experience. Of course, acting is a career choice, which was the big shift.
And as you said, popularity is very different, after you win the title. And I saw that, in one of the, awards, Filmfare, and you came. And people just moved on side. Oh, Miss World has come. And I saw the crown, the way they were carrying, and, all these things. And I felt like, that is also something, different high altogether. To be known, recognized, not only in India, but, overall, And it's a good thing that you chose your path in Bollywood. And you started your career, you worked with Akshay Kumar. So that transition phase, how was that for you? Completely facing the camera, being on camera, saying those dialogues, being that character, traditional character completely, sword fighting and all, learning all these things. How was the transition phase for you?
Well, see, of course, it's something new, it's something very different, it's something that I've never done before. So I had to start from the very basics. And like you spoke about Miss World, that's a certain peak. There's nothing beyond that in the world of pageantry. So for me, that was the journey, and if I wanted to go ahead, there was nothing in that line. Uske aage phir kya?
Yeah.
But here I had to start from level 0. So it was very interesting because I got to be a student all over again. I remember after I won Miss World, a lot of the contestants would call me, a lot of the Miss Indias would be going to Miss World would ask me if they can catch up, and they'd ask so many questions, thinking that I know everything, I can completely tell them how to win. But whatever I learned, I'd always give them my little bit of guidance. And but I think somewhere the fact that I started filming made me a student again. Of course, I was very young. I was too young to just settle for what I had. I wanted to obviously have a career, start something. And the fact that I had to start from zero was a big change for me. I was learning something new, learning something so different. I was so used to having, a schedule, whether it was in college or watching my parents work as doctors, and then suddenly you're here where for a month you'll be shooting a film and it's going to be so hectic, and then suddenly a week you just have a break, and then you get to do whatever you want to do, or you have to prep for something else, and there's a lot of self-discipline involved there. So that shift was also there. The way things work was very different from what I was used to. So a lot of big changes for me. Of course, it was a very big opportunity, and the very fact that I was launched by Yash Raj, and the very fact that I got to work with Akshay Kumar, Sonu Sood, Sanjay Dutt, Dr. Saab was directing, and they're all experienced people. So for me, I think the one good thing that came out of the fact that I was Miss World was I got a launch, such as Samrat Prithviraj, and in that launch I also got to learn from the people that I worked with.
And also, did you get played by Akshay Kumar in terms of pranks he plays on the set?
Oh.
Did that happen?
Not actually. We not while we were shooting. In fact, while we were shooting, I might have played a prank on him.
Oh wow, really?
Once, but no, not a very big one. Itni himmat nahi hai. But I do remember. So, and this is one thing, you know, I don't react. At least not in. At least not externally.
Yeah.
And we were doing our promotions, and we all were on a flight, and it was very hectic. So I curled up into my seat and I went off to sleep. And I was wearing jutis. So I took off my jutis and I went off to sleep. I woke up and in fact, you know, my manager was sitting right in front of me.
Yeah.
So she literally could see what I was doing throughout. I woke up and before we were supposed to land. I went to the restroom and I came back and I was looking for my jutis. I found one and I wore it, thinking that maybe the other one has, you know, I've lost it somewhere on the plane. I said it's okay, when everyone gets down I'll find it. I was just sitting and he kept looking at me, and then he's looking outside, then he's looking, and then he looked at me and he said, where is your other shoe? Dusri chappal kahan hai? I said it must be lost somewhere. He was really waiting for me to panic. He thought I'd panic. He's like, check in your handbag. And then I realized कि जब मैं सो रही थी, एक उठा के उन्होंने मेरे बैग में रख दी. So I think that was the one prank he tried, and unfortunately he didn't get the panic reaction. After that he didn't try to prank me, but that was a very that was a good attempt from his side, but I think I ruined it for him because I didn't panic.
Manushi, when you also made your debut, and not only in your debut, when you were, you know, we saw you as the face, there were a lot of comparisons of yours, you know, your face with Deepika Padukone. You know, because of the dimple, you know, because of the way you carry yourself, the docile, you know, nature of yours, which was very different, to be honest, you know.
There was nothing docile about Princess Sayogita. I don't know where people
you as a
think she was
personality,
docile.
you know, you as a personality, and people compared a lot. Yeah, as a personality, you know, your dimple face and all. You know, when Deepika also came, you know, then Om Shanti Om, the actual talking point was a dimple.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, that smile and all, and people actually always felt like, you know, you had some replica, some qualities.
Okay.
How do you take that as?
I think the very fact that if people are drawing a certain comparison to a Deepika who so many girls look up to, who's obviously achieved so much in the very field that I'm trying to, you know, make a career for myself. That's a very big compliment, and I think thank you. Thank you for that. I take that as a very big compliment.
But also, you know, Manushi, as I talk about your journey, you know, starting from Bangalore to Delhi, you know, then of course, you know, going, you know, outside, you know, and then, you know, coming back to Bombay, there's a lot of, you know, also witnessing a lot of different cultures.
Yeah.
You know, diversity. Even when you go abroad versus, you know, India, things are very different. If you had to select a certain place which had brought the best cultural memories for you, which place was it?
See, each place has had such a different impact on me. But the fact that I lived in Bangalore, then we moved to Delhi, now we live in Mumbai. They're all metropolitan cities, so and we've always been exposed to a very national crowd, a very all India mixture of people. You know, even in Bangalore we had people who would come from all over India to work. In Delhi, especially because my father works for the Ministry of Defence, we had so many of these defence Fauji kids, and you know, it was a mixture. And Bombay, of course, again, you know how Bombay,
it's a
what a great cocktail
place
of people Bombay is.
Yeah.
But I'd say culturally, Delhi obviously had the largest impact on me because I spent so much time in Delhi. I think my most impressionable years were spent there, and I had a lot of fun. I think I went to a lovely school. I loved my school. I loved going to school. I made great friends and I had amazing teachers. I think a lot of influence and a lot of reasons why I am how I am have been because of my years in Delhi.
And should I also introduce you as someone who's very classical?
Classical.
Or maybe very like, you know, yes, classical and somewhere old school also. Are you like that?
I'd like to consider myself to be a little old school.
Especially when I see this watch.
Oh,
This also makes me feel that, okay, you have those qualities of, those, like right now we
I
wear
just
such,
like to copy my mom.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I just try to be like her all the time. But
Yeah.
no, I'm kidding. I mean, I think there are certain things that are timeless, and I think I like that. Where we live in a world where everything's changing so fast, but I take a lot of comfort in holding on to certain habits that I've had for a very long time. The watch, for example. But like I said, I think my school, the teachers who groomed me when I was a child, my mom, I think all of them have played like a really big role in the way that I am. Even if you were talking about my mannerisms or anything else, I think they've had a great impact on that.
And are you catching hold of, the current scenario when it comes to AI, the Gen Z world, and all
I'm
the
not
lingos?
outdated. I might be an old soul, but I'm not outdated.
But are you catching hold of that? Because with AI coming
Yeah.
into picture, and even the way the technology is, it's way too different. So, how do you feel? How do you feel that it could also replace a lot of things for us, as individuals? Because people are wanting, maybe having an XYZ, robotic personality over a natural personality. What are your thoughts on that?
I think talking about technology, and today the biggest debate is artificial intelligence. But talking about that, not just my generation, I think my parents' generation is what has, that generation has seen the maximum number of changes and the most progress, if I may say so. But things are constantly changing. I still remember when the very first iPhone was released, and I still remember when Android introduced itself, and that in itself felt so revolutionary. And today we look back at those phones and we think they're so outdated. So, I mean, of course, things are moving really fast. People are adapting very fast, and I think that's something which is change has been a constant. So that will always keep happening. Today we are trying to apply AI into every field possible. The other day I was having this whole talk about how it's going to impact actors, and what are the possibilities that the film industry might have in when it comes to artificial intelligence. But I think that's inevitable. Change is always going to be there, and that's something which has been there for since centuries. That's what every generation goes through, this whole change in culture and technology. Of course, today it's happening much faster. I see a lot more of a generational gap compared to what it used to be back in the day, and I think having said that, I don't think that is very much related to your Gen Z, or I think that's a very different.
That's
that's a
completely lingo
completely
and all, yeah.
that's a completely different
But
aspect.
me and my friends, we prefer not adapting AI completely, because we feel that human brain is more creative as compared to because it's a human brain which created artificial intelligence eventually. Who also feels like what he did is a destructive step.
Yeah.
He himself feels that way, and otherwise even Hollywood actors feel that maybe we could live a life even after death via AI. Our personalities could be brought to maybe into a character after we die also. A very famous Hollywood actor said that maybe
Okay.
that could be one benefit out of it. Do you also feel that maybe because for art it could be a long journey for that matter?
See, I think there is one thing, whenever an artist has been celebrated, whether you talk about a painter or you talk about an actor, it's always been the human touch, it's always been the relatability. Like, if I were to talk about, back in the day when Europe was the hub of artists, at that time, a Da Vinci would paint would paint the common man. And I think that's I think that's one reason why he became who he was. While people would depict, either they would paint, they would paint about religion, they would show gods, or through their paintings they would depict the royalty, a lavish lifestyle, parties and coronations. I think the very fact that Da Vinci would paint about peasants, or would paint about the real world and who the common man actually is, was a big reason for his success. And even today, there's so much of admiration for him. Similarly, I feel even in cinema, there's so much of connect that films that are made on the common man have, and you can't lose that human touch. So that, I think that is another thing which only time will tell, whether AI is here to make things better or worse. I think that's also a perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow a lot of things where you don't have to waste time and energy as a human could be, you know, done through technology, and your energies and your resources could be used elsewhere. But that's something which only time will tell.
When it comes to work, coming back to your work, coming back to Miss World, after 27 years, Miss World is going to take place in India.
In India, yeah.
So how excited are you for this one, and will you be a part of it?
I mean, of course, I have to be a part of it. There's no question about that. But I think even before it came out in the news, I got a little text from the Miss World team telling me that we're coming to India, and, you know, we're doing this. Finally, we're doing this here. I remember we were having this discussion when I was traveling with them, and, you know, I used to always tell them, when are we doing this in India? We should do it in India, because I won Miss World in China. And there was so much that China had to offer. But I used to always think that India has a lot to offer as well, and it would be great to have these girls come from all over the world and explore, you know, what we have to offer. So I'm glad that it's happening, and I'm glad it's happening so close, because every year when the Miss World competition happens, I always plan that I'm going to go and I'm going to attend and I'm going to go and help out. But every time there's something or the other, you know, I remember when it was in Puerto Rico, it was so far for me to travel and then come back. So I couldn't attend it that year. But now that it's here in India, well, it's great. We get to host everyone, we get to be a part of it, and I finally get to attend it after, you know, after I passed on the crown, I've not attended a single show.
And, you know, over the years, we have seen such beautiful faces along with such brilliant minds winning the title. One of those was Priyanka Chopra, and you are personally fond of her. Do you somehow feel her journey is something which is very worth watching, because, you know, the way she has gone overseas and she makes us proud with the kind of work she's doing, and, you know, and she has literally, like, she's one personality for that matter, who is growing and glowing. What are your thoughts on that?
I think especially as a female, there's so much to learn from her, and there's so much to look up to. I feel that and there's one thing I really admire about her. I feel that there's nothing in this world that can ever make her stop, or that can ever make her not get up and run again. And I think that's a quality I really admire. And of course, I feel proud that she was also Miss World, so that's you know, there's a little bias over there. But yeah, I think the fact that today she is doing what she's doing. I was watching her, I mean, with my parents, I was watching her latest show, Citadel, and I think what I really admire about her is that she's constantly reinvented herself, and she's literally the very you know, she literally follows, when in Rome, do what the Romans do, and she adapts very well. And I think her adaptability is another very admirable quality about her. So I don't think anyone else has achieved as much as she has.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, professionally speaking, and it makes me really proud that not only she's from the Miss World family, but she's also an Indian woman, making us proud.
Well, that's very true. And of course, I'm going to play a very small segment with you. But before that, I want to know about your upcoming projects you're working on. You're working with John Abraham. There's a lot of things, you know, on your platter. Tell me about it.
Well, I think there are only two that I can talk about right now because they've been announced. The film with John is called Tehran, which we finished filming for last year. So that's something which even I'm looking forward to watch. And the other film, Operation Valentine, is my Telugu debut, so it'll be a bilingual film, and I'm still filming for it, but I think a wonderful script and a wonderful director.
Yeah, and with John, will we get to see you doing some action scenes and all?
A little bit, yes. But what I like about Tehran is the action is very real. So I think that's something which I mean, I've not done. Obviously, that was my first action film. So even I'm curious to see. I've not seen the film myself. I'm also curious to see how it's looking.
And since the weather is not great as such, but the weather in Mumbai calls for romance, for love, for that matter. When it comes to the idea of love, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I like how you spoke about Mumbai and linked it to romance, because I got stuck in a really bad traffic jam while coming here and there was nothing romantic about it. But I mean, what is my general idea of
General
love?
idea of love, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's such a vague question to think about, but I think love is what kind of makes a lot of things in life worth doing. The very fact that I could have the worst day at work and everything could go wrong, and I could, sometimes you just feel like you're not performing as well. You got stuck in a traffic jam. Your food was not good, and everything's just going wrong. And suddenly you come back home and you see your parents, and there's so much of love. So I think then it just makes everything that you do worth doing. And I think that love is what keeps all of us going, up and going, and keeps all of us motivated, and it makes us seek inspiration, and it somewhere prevents us from feeling. I think whenever we feel low, the reason we bounce back is because we love life and we love the people that we're surrounded with, and we love ourselves. So I think love is what keeps you going in life.
And also, when I talk about love, are you in the Shah Rukh Khan era of love, or are you in the Kartik Aaryan era of love?
I have already been spoiled. My expectations of love are Shah Rukh Khan.
Wow.
So I'm in the SRK
era of love.
Yeah, seeking Shah Rukh Khan everywhere.
Wow, I'm sure. And I think like that person has taught a lot of people to love very differently, is what I feel.
I think that form of love is something which every woman in every age group, from every background, would in some manner seek.
Yeah, the chivalry of love, I must say that.
Yeah, a ladies' man.
A ladies' man. And before I let you go, I'm going to play a very small segment. You are the Miss World, and I want that accent of yours to come out when it comes to saying Bollywood dialogues in Miss World tonality, or when you're winning the crown and how you give a speech around it.
Okay.
So the Bollywood dialogues,
a speech.
Speech in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
So this is the dialogue. दोस्त फेल हो जाए तो दुख होता है, लेकिन दोस्त फर्स्ट आ जाए तो ज़्यादा दुख होता है.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. दोस्त फेल हो जाए तो दुख होता है, लेकिन दोस्त फर्स्ट आ जाए तो ज़्यादा दुख होता है. Thank you.
Wow, that was like a proper speech she's trying to give, and the glow, the space, the smile on your face.
I can do it better. I can do it with the camera this time.
Yeah, you should do that, okay?
Actually, ये dialogue मुझे पता नहीं था, so that's why I was trying to memorize.
So now I'll just make you, I'll tell you the dialogue, which is द्रौपदी तेरे अकेली की नहीं है, हम सब शेयर होल्डर है.
Oh my, ये कौन सी फिल्म का dialogue है?
It's a very old film actually. It's जाने भी दो यारो.
Oh, of course, the lovely climax. Okay. What was it again?
द्रौपदी तेरे अकेली की नहीं है, हम सब शेयर होल्डर है.
Oh. Okay, this I'm going to do in a very motivational way. Okay.
Cool, works.
Good evening, everyone. द्रौपदी तेरे अकेले के लिए नहीं है. तू एक अकेला शेयर होल्डर नहीं है. Thank you.
हम सब शेयर
होल्डर हैं. Okay, I murdered the dialogue. Give me something I know. Can I?
Okay, so उठा ले रे बाबा.
Oh, of course. I
this
know
one I'm
this.
sure. मेरे को नहीं है, इन दोनों को उठा ले.
Babu Bhaiya, I love him. I love him, and this is one of my favorite movies and my favorite character. It's Utha Le Re Baba.
मेरे को नहीं, इन दोनों को.
Oh my God. Okay.
Imagine in a poised way.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. Utha Le Re Baba. मेरे को नहीं, इन दोनों को. Thank you.
Wow. Last two for you.
हाँ.
Okay, and I'll just make you go through it. आया हूँ कुछ तो लेके जाऊंगा. It's Crime Master Gogo. आया हो तो कुछ तो लेके जाऊंगा.
इतना देखा है. Okay. आया हूँ. नहीं, ये तो बहुत प्यार से हो गया.
आया हो तो कुछ तो लेके जाऊंगा. You can do it in your way also if you want. Manushi Chhillar way.
I'm just trying to think about a different variation here, but maybe we can be okay. Thank you for the question. Good evening, everyone. आया हूँ तो कुछ तो लेके जाऊंगा. And I'd like to say that I was so inspired by Crime Master Gogo for this answer, and I owe this very moment to him. Thank you.
Wow. Basically, crown lekar jayegi, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And last one is, भाई ने बोला करने का मतलब करने का, which is Munna Bhai MBBS.
Well, since I'm really close to my brother, I'd like to say that भाई ने बोला करने का तो करने का. Thank you.
Wow.
See, I warmed up into it. I've not done this in such a long time.
So I wanted to like play something different with you because I wanted such, funny dialogues and at the same time some tapori dialogues converted into a docile manner, which you tried doing.
Which one of the dialogues I even like forgot what it was, but yeah, this was fun.
Thank you so much. I loved interviewing you and it was a pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have you.
Thank
And
you.
I wish you all the best and I'm looking forward to see more of you.
Thank you.